At first glance, this looks like a simple disagreement over inflation. But that's not the real story. Huffman is setting the rules for everything that follows. If Americans are struggling to pay for gas, groceries, and housing, then every spending decision suddenly faces a much harder test. Every project, every priority, and every dollar spent can now be measured against one question: does this help people who are struggling right now?
Secretary Burgum, I want to start with something I hope we can just agree on. Would you agree that most Americans are struggling right now to afford basic necessities of life because of rising costs?
Yeah, I would say, again, this administration...
Yes or no? Do you agree they're struggling with these rising costs?
I agree that this administration inherited the highest inflation in 40 years.
Mr. Secretary, do you agree that families are struggling across this country with rising costs? Yes or no?
I agree that during the first year of office, we did more. This administration did more to lower costs than any other.
Maybe you wouldn't know, Mr. Secretary, whether they're struggling. I mean, you're in a different economic strata, but I think most of us understand there's a struggle out there because of this administration's economic and energy policies.
This is where the hearing changes entirely. The argument is no longer just about prices, it's about priorities. Huffman is making a much larger accusation, that at a time when families are feeling financial pressure, government attention is being directed toward projects that are highly symbolic and closely associated with President Trump. Whether viewers agree or disagree, the charge is politically potent because it raises a question every administration eventually faces: what should government focus on when people believe life is becoming more expensive?
You have spent a lot of the department's time, resources, and taxpayer dollars to serve Donald Trump's vanity. You put his face on national park passes. You're helping him build a $1 billion ballroom. You're letting him paint the reflecting pool blue on a no-bid contract. You're building a 250-foot arch to Trump that will overshadow our veterans' final resting place. And Mr. Secretary, it's hard to understand how these projects to stroke Trump's ego do anything for the American people with their day-to-day struggles to afford daily life. And the ballooning costs of these tributes to Donald Trump really speak to the lack of fiscal responsibility in this budget, not to what you said in your testimony, that this is all about fiscal responsibility. So can you just confirm, with this arch specifically, who is this arch for?
Most viewers missed what was happening here. Huffman keeps asking the same question because the question itself is the story. Every attempt to redirect the discussion makes the answer more politically important. Is this a national monument? A presidential legacy project? Something in between? The longer it takes to provide a clear answer, the more the exchange begins to feel like a debate over ownership, purpose, and whose interests are ultimately being served.
Who's it being built for?
I think you're probably aware that there's been no final agency action around building something on a site.
That was not my question about technicality on final agency action. Who's it being built for?
It's not a technicality.
This is my question, Mr. Secretary. I'm sorry, that's the way it works. Who is the arch being built for?
The frame of your question is that there has been a approved proposal and something is actually being built.
Now, let's forget about final agency action and other legalese. There is a proposal to build this arch. Who is it for?
There's a discussion about it. I wouldn't say there's not a proposal.
Who's it for?
Well, for the American people, just like everything else in this thing, because there are 68 democratic capitals around the free world that have arches, and I guess that somehow the United States building an arch for the people to celebrate.
We're going to build.
This may be the most explosive moment of the hearing. Until now, the debate has been about interpretation. Then Huffman introduces something entirely different. He says President Trump was already asked who the arch was for and answered with one word: me. In that instant, the conversation changes completely. The argument is no longer about whether monuments are good or bad. It's about whether this project represents national pride, personal legacy, or some combination of both. And that's exactly the kind of question that rarely ends when the hearing is over.
One just a little taller than the one in Pyongyang because someone in the White House insists that ours be the biggest. Mr. Secretary, You may not be aware of this, but actually I'm sure you are aware. Donald Trump was asked this question specifically on the record, and he said this arch is for him. He said his answer was me.
But beneath the surface, this may be the question that affects people most directly. Energy prices don't stay at the gas station. They influence transportation costs, supply chains, and eventually the prices consumers encounter throughout the economy. That's why Huffman's question is politically dangerous. If households are paying more, someone somewhere is benefiting from higher prices. The question isn't simply whether energy costs have changed. It's who bears the burden and who gains from the outcome.
While you're funneling billions into these vanity projects, gas is up by an average of $1.40 a gallon from last year. In March, President Trump posted this message. He said, "The United States is the largest oil producer in the world by far, so when oil prices go up, we make a lot of money." Who's the we?
This may be the most politically dangerous moment of the hearing. Huffman is talking about what people feel every time they stop at a gas station. Burgum is talking about trends, comparisons, and where the country is supposedly headed. Both men are discussing energy prices, but they're answering entirely different questions. One asks whether Americans can afford life right now. The other asks whether today's pain will eventually produce tomorrow's gains. And that's why exchanges like this resonate far beyond Congress. People rarely judge the economy by long-term projections. They judge it by what happens when they swipe their card.
Well, it could be states, the federal government, the American people. When we collect royalty rates on oil production on federal lands, and so if prices are higher, then there's more revenue coming into the system.
So this is good for American families that they're paying $1.40 more a gallon for gas?
I'm not saying that, but I'm thrilled that they're paying.
for the government?
I'm thrilled that they're paying about $1 less than they were during the Biden administration. I mean, that's exciting, and these prices are going to drop quickly again because now we actually have supply. Prices are determined based on supply.
Again, there's a real disconnect here. Americans are not celebrating this spike in gas prices that you seem to think is just great, and your only answer is to hearken back to the depths of the pandemic.
It wasn't the depths of the pandemic. It was just a year ago, and it was a series. It was a series of energy subtraction.
Americans
policies.
are paying $1.40 more a gallon, and there's no end in sight to this energy crisis created by the war in Iran. They're the ones who can't afford to keep the lights on and put food on the table, but the we that's making a lot more money are let's be honest about it. It's the big oil billionaires.
And this is where the hearing leaves viewers with its biggest unresolved question. Burgum sees a strategic transformation of global energy and believes today's challenges are temporary. Huffman sees families dealing with rising costs and asks why they should feel optimistic right now. Neither side is really arguing about a single arch or a single gas price. They're arguing over how governments should be judged in difficult times, by long-term ambitions and strategic goals, or by whether people feel they can afford everyday life today. However viewers answer that question may determine how they interpret everything that came before it.
Mr. Secretary, you're the energy czar. I mean, is all of this proceeding according to your plan? Is everything going well?
The fact that we've displaced 2/3 of the Russian gas in Western Europe, the fact that we've shut down Iranian exports and Venezuelan exports, which were creating record cheap oil for our adversaries around the world.
You're feeling pretty good about our trajectory right now.
I feel like that this president has changed the geopolitical structure of the energy wing, which has determined almost all conflicts for the last 47 years, has shifted from the Middle East to the Western Hemisphere. And when Alaska continues to come online to serve our Pacific allies, we're going to see a historic shift.
Everything's going great.
What has been accomplished in the last 15 months to reshift the geopolitical alignment of energy production towards reliable, affordable, and secure energy of those countries, nothing short of remarkable. And this is a temporary, not a long-term thing. We're on a path towards affordability, reliability, and security.
I'm going to take that as a yes, that you believe everything's going great.